After 6 long years, it's finally here, the Google Home speaker. Now, the original Nest Mini came in 2019. I was a boy back then. Now I'm a middle-aged man. Midlife crisis aside, guys, the fact is that the Google Home speaker is the first major revision we've seen in nearly half a decade since the Nest Audio came out in 2020. Of course, that also means that this product is its own new perspective. This is not a direct replacement to the Nest Mini nor the Nest Audio, both of which, by the way, are officially discontinued now. Rather, it's come out as the next generation of Gemini-equipped home speakers. Now, with that said, we're going to talk about Gemini itself, how this thing is built ground up for it, the new speaker system, which has in fact improved from the Nest Mini, and also some other subtle traits which you might want to consider before you jump and get one of these things. And this really is a nifty little product, so I'm pretty excited to talk about it. Let's get into it. The packaging experience is nice and simple. I actually appreciate that, honestly speaking. So you've got an eco-friendly box, remove those pull tabs. Inside another box, here it is, the Google Home speaker itself. You do also technically get a Type-C cable. It is attached to the Google Home speaker itself, but we'll talk about that in just a minute. You also get a 30-watt charging brick, and it's important to remember that you do actually need 30 watts to operate this device at capacity. And then finally, you do have some documentation. Let's start with the most obvious change, the design itself. This is definitely bigger than a Nest Mini, but still significantly smaller than a Nest Audio speaker. And you'll also appreciate the fact that they've really made that porcelain color stand out so well. It's neutral, but also kind of glowy at the same time. You can put it on any surface and it'll match without you worrying about a color incompatibility of sorts. The mesh itself is a little bit looser this year. Actually, it's a lot looser. I think this is a good thing because it actually adds a degree of flexibility that wasn't there with the original products, though it is a little bit thinner, so you don't want to keep anything sharp near it, obviously. With that said, you do have the same mic mute button if you've had with previous generations, and they have that same orange indicator to let you know it's off. You have a pretty standard base. You do have a halo light over here. We'll talk about that in just a bit. Let's talk about the controversial thing, the cable itself. So on one side, it is a Type-C cable now, which is great, of course. However, it has a length of 1.5 meters. For most people, this would be sufficient, but if you're going to put this on a really high shelf, this might fall a little bit on the shorter side. However, that in itself isn't really a problem. What is a problem, again, is that they've soldered this over here. So if this cable goes bad or it's not long enough, you're kind of out of luck. Well, if it's not long enough, you could get a USB-C extender, but again, the stock product itself is heavily reliant on you taking care of this cable. That is something to keep in mind. Though in all fairness, if you're just going to put this somewhere on a shelf and forget about it, the cable isn't going to have much wear and tear to begin with. But some of the biggest improvements undoubtedly are on the inside of the Google Home speaker. You have a more powerful processor alongside a NPU or AI accelerator, 1 GB of memory on board, and 4 GB of storage. All this, of course, helps process a lot of the Gemini requests locally rather than sending it all over to the cloud. The result is that you basically have faster query speeds, but also you get an additional layer of privacy, technically speaking, because more stuff is being processed locally rather than everything being sent over to the cloud. Though it's also worth noting you have a Wi-Fi 6 this year around versus Wi-Fi 5 that we had with the Nest Mini Nest Audio. So stronger signals means you can put your actual speaker further away from the router. For visualization, Google has obviously included a LED light, and this time it's a halo style round light at the bottom of the device. Now, while the light itself is pretty straightforward, it has different color tones to let you know you're interacting with the Google Home speaker's AI assistant. We also have a more powerful 58mm full range driver as well as 360-degree sound, but I'll talk more about that in the speaker section in just a bit. Before I show you all the cool things Gemini can do, let's talk about the fundamental difference between Google's voice assistant, which was formerly available on their Nest products, and Google Gemini, which is now available across the Nest products and of course Google Home speaker. The big thing here, guys, is that unlike Google Assistant, which was query specific, so you would ask, hey, what's the weather in so-and-so, and it would tell you that, and it was a one and done deal. Or you could ask it to set a timer or an alarm, it would execute that command, and that was the end of the story. With Google Gemini, it's more contextually aware, it uses AI of course, and also it has short-term memory, so it can keep a conversation going. So you could ask the temperature in a certain area, but then follow up with saying, what kind of clothing should I bring? It'll remember the past conversation and apply the appropriate context to answer your next question or series of questions. Hey Google, when is the next Canadian match for FIFA 2026?
Canada's next match in the 2026 FIFA World Cup is on July 4th at 1 a.m.
Hey, I'm planning on going to Florida in early September for my daughter's birthday. Do you have any idea how hot it might be and what kind of clothing I should pack?
In early September, you can expect Florida to be warm and humid, with daytime highs around 31 degrees Celsius. It's a season that often brings short, intense afternoon rain showers, so it's a good idea to pack light, breathable clothing, comfortable footwear, and gear like a hat, sunglasses, and a compact umbrella or raincoat to stay prepared.
Hey, set the thermostat to 22 degrees Celsius. Actually, never mind. Make that 21.5.
Setting the thermostat to 21.5 degrees Celsius.
Hey, there's this song I'm thinking of. Can you help me find the artist? It goes something like, "In the end, it doesn't even matter."
That line is from the song In the End by the band Linkin Park.
It's important to remember that Google Gemini does come standard out of the box with the Google Home speaker. However, there is a more advanced level to Gemini, which is basically known as Gemini Live, and that allows you to have almost like a two-way conversation, like you're basically talking to another person. And this is great for brainstorming, or if you're trying to get live input consistently. You also have a greater amount of memory, I guess, in terms of contextual awareness. You usually initiate it by saying, "Hey Google, let's chat." So I'll kind of show you a demo. Let's chat.
Before we start, keep in mind Gemini responses can have mistakes sometimes, so be sure to double check them.
I feel like I've been gaining a lot of weight lately and it's just making me feel unmotivated. Any idea what I can do?
It's completely normal to feel that way sometimes, and focusing on small, manageable process goals rather than just the final result can make a big difference. Many people find success by tracking their habits, like keeping a simple food and activity journal, the personal reasons you want to feel healthier, and keeping that in mind when you're feeling low on motivation. Would you like to brainstorm some specific, realistic process goals that you could start with this week?
No, but I already feel like I'm losing a few pounds just talking to you about this. Wow, Google, you've really changed my perspective on life. Thank you so much.
I'm really glad to hear that simply talking through your goals is helping you feel more positive and motivated. Would you like to try a quick breathing exercise to help stay grounded as you start this journey?
No, I'm good being lazy and fat. No, I can't. I'm not actually okay with that, but let's end this conversation. And finally, we come over to the speaker system. So we have a 58mm full range driver. This is significantly more powerful than what the Nest Mini had, but marginally less powerful than what the Nest Audio gave you with its more powerful driver. However, one thing Google's really improved is the richness of the audio, especially with the lows. Voices have a lot more grunt to them, which is actually very unique and very nice. And it really helps because you can actually choose a bunch of preset voices this year. And I really like how Google's kind of executed that with the speaker system in mind. It's also worth noting you have 360-degree audio or omnidirectional audio. It's really helpful because you don't have to think about in which direction or where you're specifically going to put the Google Home speaker in your room. It kind of just has even audio no matter where you place it. With a $99.99 US price tag, the Google Home speaker has been subject to a lot of debate. On one side, it does bring new hardware. It has built-in memory, built-in storage, a more powerful processor. It is able to process some queries faster than the previous generation Nest products. It has better Wi-Fi, and the 360-degree sound does make a difference on where you're going to place the actual speaker itself. On the other hand, you could argue, yes, you can also get Gemini on the older Nest products, but here's the thing, guys, keep in mind that the Nest products are now officially discontinued, and the Google Home speaker kind of sets the new trajectory of what Google wants to do with its home speaker systems, and some of the hardware here might get better utilized as time goes on. Now, of course, with that said, it would have been nice to see a more powerful driver on par to the Nest Audio, but honestly, the audio quality is marginally inferior compared to that product and significantly better than what the Nest Mini had. Overall, I think it's fair value, keeping in mind that we are in a time where components have gotten insanely expensive. I do think the Google Home speaker is fairly priced and gives you a good degree of value. And it's important to remember you do also get 6 months free of Google's premium subscription. So there is a little bit of value to be had over there as well. Nearly 6 years since the last product. Not too shabby, I guess. Let me know what you think of the Google Home speaker. If you already have one, I'd love to hear your thoughts. And as always, if you guys enjoyed the content, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. Catch you in the next one.